Hey lovelies, welcome back. It's your girl Katie here. So today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys all of my eyeshadow palettes that have been discontinued. So I went through my collection, I found out which ones had been discontinued, and that's the ones I'm going to be showing you today. I have a lot more than I thought I would have. Honestly, some of these may be a surprise to you that they've been discontinued. I know a couple of them were for me personally. I didn't realize they'd been discontinued, but yeah. So you won't be able to find these palettes from the actual brand anymore. You may be able to find them maybe used or maybe off of Amazon, but be careful if you guys do try to find any of these palettes. Make sure you do your research to see where they're actually coming from and if they are actual genuine, like the genuine palettes. You know, don't buy counterfeited products and things like that because that's not safe. So just make sure you're careful if you do look for these palettes. You may or may not be able to still find them. Anyways, so I'm just going to show you each and every palette, so let's just go ahead and jump right on into this video. Alright, so I'm going to go by brand. I have several brands that I have several discontinued products from, so I'll just start with those, and then maybe I'll go into the ones that I just have one of from each brand. Anyways, so I'm going to start off with Colourpop first. Now, Colourpop, I have quite a few palettes here that have been discontinued, and that shouldn't be a surprise because Colourpop has so many launches of so many different products that it doesn't surprise me that a lot of the palettes that they come out with get discontinued. But anyway, so I'm going to start with Colourpop first. So two that are from the same collection. I don't know the name of the collection, but it is these floral palettes here. I have the Grandeer Palette and the Ornate Palette. And FYI, these palettes have been discontinued to the best of my knowledge. How I came to that conclusion is I would go to the actual brand website and I would search the name of whatever palette I have. And if it didn't pop up, I'm assuming it's been discontinued. Some of the palettes I do see that every now and then you can still buy from Sephora, but you can't actually buy them from the actual brand website. So, to the best of my knowledge, I think these palettes have been, all the ones I'm showing you have been discontinued. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I went to each website, I searched the name of each palette, and if it didn't pop up, I'd be like, okay, I guess that means it's discontinued. You can't buy it from them anymore. Anyways, so Colourpop. So I have the Grandeer Palette and the Ornate Palette. I really liked this line when it came out of. I kind of wish I'd gotten the third palette because there was a third palette. I don't remember the name of it, but so the Ornate Palette. Here's what the inside looks like. Very red orange color scheme there. And then here's the Grandeer Palette, which I actually used this one in my October shop my stash. I really liked it. This one does have a pressed glitter in it, which I didn't really like, but still really pretty palettes. So there's those two. And then we have these two palettes here from Colourpop that these palettes are in collaboration with Kathleen Light. So we have the Dream Street palette, which is the first palette that I actually ever bought from Colourpop, because this is when I really was a big fan of Kathleen Light's. I mean, I'm still a big fan of her, but I don't watch her videos as often as I used to. But this is when I binge watched all her videos. And she'd come out with these collaborations with Colourpop, and of course I bought them to support. But since then, they've been discontinued. So here's what the Dream Street one looks like. This was my favorite palette, and it still is. Maybe not my favorite anymore, but this palette I used every day. I used the crap out of it. So there's the Dream Street. There's the Dream Street one, and then the Zodiac palette. I didn't use as much of, but I still wanted it. And I'm glad that I went ahead and picked it up, especially now that it's been discontinued. I think the packaging is what I love the most. Like, the color scheme's not bad, but, you know, the packaging is really where it's at. Then a couple of the Disney palettes have been discontinued. Like I said, I didn't see them on the website, so I'm assuming they've been discontinued. So we have the Misunderstood palette, which is the Villains collection that they did in collaboration with Disney. So I'll show you this one first. And I'm so glad I got my hands on this. Isn't the detail like beautiful, especially on the packaging? And the colors are really nice as well. It's very much more shimmer palette though, because there's only about 4 mattes. but I don't mind that. And then the other Disney one that's been discontinued is the Mulan one, which again, the packaging is just stunning. I love the packaging. And then one they must have recently discontinued, because I thought I had seen this on their website not long ago. And like I said, I didn't see it on there this time. But is this one from it's called Sandstone. And I think the reason why they must have discontinued this one, a lot of people had a problem with the packaging. I personally don't see anything wrong with the packaging, but, you know, people get offended and things, and then they have an uproar about it. I don't think Colourpop meant any harm by having this type of packaging, but you know how people are nowadays. They get a little offended over silly things. Anyways, there's the color story. I think the color story is actually really pretty. And then the last palette that I have from Colourpop that's been discontinued is another collaboration with Kathleen Knights, and that is the So Jaded palette. Which I'm surprised they discontinued this one, because I thought it was really popular, but maybe the popularity died down. Anyways, I know this palette reminds me a lot of their So Jeweled, I think it is. I don't know if that's the name, but they just came out with a new one called something Jeweled. And that reminds me a lot of this palette. Anyways, it's a pretty good sized palette, but it's got all these type of jewels, kind of like shades in it. It's really, really pretty. I'm really glad I got my hands on this one. Alright, so that's all from Colourpop that I have that's been discontinued. And then I have a couple from Huda Beauty. Huda Beauty. I always mess up. I always say like Huda Booty. It's not. It's Huda Beauty. And I have a couple of their Obsession palettes, which I didn't know had been discontinued, but I didn't see them on their website, so I'm assuming. But I have the Warm Browns Obsession palette and the Topaz Obsession palette. I haven't actually used these yet. I know that's terrible. I got these in BoxyCharm, I think, or I bought them from BoxyCharm. But anyways, here's what they look like. Very, very fall-looking palettes, so perfect for right now. Alright, so there are those two. Then I have a couple from Milani that have been discontinued, and I knew these had been discontinued for a while. I think I actually got both of these from like TJ Maxx, and I was glad to have found them there. But these are their Milani, like I think they called them like these gold bar, the packaging's so dirty looking, but I think they called them these gold bar palettes or something like that. I don't know the official name. Anyways, this is the Pure Passion palette and then the Most Loved Mattes palette. So I'll show you Pure Passion first. I really like this palette. Just a very neutral palette, but these are some of like the better quality from Milani, because Milani's eyeshadows can be hit or miss. In my experience, they can be hit or miss. And then here are the Most Loved Mattes one, which is just a bunch of mattes that are neutral. Alright, then I have several from Too Faced. So, first one is this white peach palette. Like I said, I don't see these on their website anymore. So this is what it looks like. It's pretty neutral. I will say though, these palettes always smell so good. And I think the packaging is probably the cutest. Alright, and then we have the Just Peachy Mattes palette. Then I have the Sparkling Pineapple palette, which is sadly no longer around. It is super cute though. I love the little pineapple in the corner here on the mirror. And I really love these two shimmer shades here. And it smells like pineapple. And then one I didn't realize had been discontinued was the Chocolate Bar palette. I thought it was still around, but I didn't see it on the website, so I'm assuming it's gone. And then last one from Too Faced is the Natural Lust palette, which I love this palette. And I wish I could show it off more on my channel. I mean, I can, but I just feel bad because you can't get it anymore. I mean, I think I saw that maybe Sephora still carried it, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. Anyways, so this palette is just beautiful. I really wanted to include this in my 10 palettes if I could only keep 10 palettes, but I didn't think it was fair considering, like I said, it's been discontinued. It's got a giant mirror on the back, or in the palette. But anyways, I love this palette. Then I have a couple of Natasha Denona palettes that I didn't see listed on their website, so again, assuming they've been discontinued. So, first one I know is you can't buy it because it was actually an exclusive. So I don't know if this would be considered a discontinued or what. But I knew this palette here is the Peak palette, and this was BoxyCharm exclusive. So I don't know if you'd count this one. I'm just gonna show it just because you can't buy it. But here's what it looks like. But I'm just letting you know it was an exclusive. And then the Ayana palette here, which I don't think was a BoxyCharm exclusive, and I didn't see it listed on the website, so here it is. It's very nice cool tone, like browns shades here. Alright, then I have two from Tarte. So I have the Be You Naturally palette here. I think it's like one of the Tarte, I want to call it like Amazonian palettes. I don't know how many they came out with, but I really like the packaging. But it's a super, super neutral palette. But it looks perfect for like everyday looks. And then this one, I didn't realize this one had been discontinued. This is the Tarteist Pro Palette from Tarte. I saw that they had the Tarteist Pro Remix still on their website, but they didn't have this one, which I was surprised. Anyway, so it has a really big mirror in there, and then here are the shades. I can't open it up all the way. I don't like that, but I wish I could fold it back a bit more. So sorry if you get blinded by the mirror, but there are the shades. It's mostly mattes. These are the only shimmers in here, which is interesting because in the Tarteist Pro Remix, it's mostly shimmers with a few mattes. So it's like they did the complete opposite. Alright, so now I'm going to show my palettes that have been discontinued that are just singles, like I only own one from the brand, or one that's been discontinued from each brand. So this one here from Marc Jacobs, which is the Stiletto Palette. Which I don't know what's up with Marc Jacobs. I don't know if I heard they were rebranding. Well, first I heard they were shutting, or I heard they were closing down, or at least on the makeup part. But then one of my lovely subscribers told me that they were rebranding. So I don't know which they're doing, or when they're rebranding. That's what I've heard. So, anyways, here's the Stiletto palette. Very cool toned colors here. This shimmer shade right here looks so pretty. I have yet to try this one. I know I'm terrible. But anyways, there's that. And then this one surprised me. They didn't have it listed on their website anymore, and this is the Anastasia Subculture palette, which I have noticed that I've seen this palette recently in TJ Maxx again. That's where I actually got this one, is from TJ Maxx, like a couple of years ago, but the last time I was in there, I'd seen several Subculture palettes in there, and I thought that was odd. So that makes sense if they discontinued it. But I thought you could still get it at Ulta. I don't know. Anyways, here's what it looks like if you don't know. I will say the shimmer shades are kind of crumbly looking. Like I haven't used this palette a ton, but it looks like I have. But I think it's a pretty one. Alright, and this next one, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to apologize at the same time because I did not realize this palette had been discontinued, and I actually showed it in several of my past videos. I showed it in my current favorites, and then I showed it in my my 10 palette pick video that I did recently. And yes, I was unaware that it had been discontinued, so I apologize for showing it in those videos, but I'm not perfect. And that is the Urban Decay Naked Palette. I did not realize this palette had been discontinued. I thought they still sold it for some reason because I knew that they still sold the Naked 2 and Naked 3, so I just assumed that they still had the first one. But I was wrong. Apparently, this palette has been discontinued, and that makes me really sad. And I feel bad now that I showed this palette in my videos. Whatever. I know you guys don't really care, but I was still trying to only show products that you could still get your hands on, especially if I do tutorials and things. But whatever. 'Tis what it is. But yeah, I was really sad to hear that. I didn't realize this palette had been discontinued. You learn something new every day. So that one. And then last one is this one from Smashbox. And this is the LA Cover Shot Eye Palette. Which I really like the packaging on this. It's so cool. Anyways, here's what the inside looks like. Again, it's one of those palettes that the thing doesn't open all the way, which kind of annoys me. But it's an interesting palette. I wouldn't say it's my favorite ever, but I'm glad to have it. But yeah, there you go, guys. Those are all my palettes that I own that have been discontinued. But yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you like seeing these types of videos. And also let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of my discontinued eyeshadow palette collection. Did any of these surprise you that had been discontinued, or did you know all these have been discontinued? Let me know down in the comments because I love chatting with you guys. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!